Go first. My name's Opemipo Oduntan. I'm a 17-year-old in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I'm enthusiastic and also quite invested in developing my skills in like AI and other technical areas. One of my hobbies is game development and music.
Hi, my name is Beatrice. I am 16, based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Fun fact about me is I absolutely love space. I've written a few papers on artificial magnetic field generation, if anybody's familiar with that very, very niche sector, and also worked with magnetic particles to develop sort of a delivery system for a drug to prevent bone mass loss for astronauts in space. So I love working in really, really high areas.
So my name is Amrita. I'm 16 years old. I'm also from Toronto, Ontario, and I've been really into alternative energy. So I'm really into nuclear fusion. I have been for the past like 2+ years now. And then I got really deep into it to the point where I wanted to intersect it with artificial intelligence.
So Biotex is a project that is focused on taking the cotton waste that's disposed in mass, or thousands and thousands of tons of this cotton waste are disposed in something called the Dandora landfill. We decided to partner with Sam Tumba, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, in Kenya, to try and create a solution for this, because he was already working in a Dandora landfill to reduce the waste there. And what our plan was to take this waste, this cotton waste, found in a Dandora landfill, get people to retrieve it. We set up bioreactor plants inside of Kenya. These plants would then take in the cotton waste. It would biochemically degrade them using enzymatic hydrolysis. And basically what happens is that it breaks it down to the very, very basic monomers of the cellulose, which is a major component of cotton waste. And we take this cellulose and we turn it into glucose. Once this glucose has been retrieved or attained, we then sell it overseas to bioreactor companies that are trying to make sustainable solutions for energy generation worldwide.
I feel like for a lot of us, it was really just anger. We did a bunch of research through sort of like a STEM program that we're all part of, sort of outside of school. And we were sort of competing in, it's called sort of like a hackathon. And in one day, we just did a bunch of research, and then we did a really quick, I think like 35-minute presentation or something like that. And through that, we learned a shocking amount about just what is going on in the industry and how all these developed countries, like for example, the US or the UK, even Canada, has a bunch of brands that you might not even think of. Like, for example, Zara was a really big name that came up. H&M was another one. And all these companies are exporting clothes through sort of like a donation program to Kenya. And then they're saying, okay, we're going to give you clothes as donations. They are wearable. They are recycled. We're helping you guys. And then people in Kenya would go to receive these clothes only to find out that they are in such poor shape that they can't wear them without fear of getting skin rashes or skin disease. And I think a really big percent of the clothes that were shipped was actually completely unusable, and it just didn't sit right. It was a really just sort of like wow moment, like we can't believe this is happening.
Working out like the financials of the project, whatever it is, whether it's like the ROI or like the savings or anything expenses, I think our team kind of had like a hard time trying to figure out like the financial aspect of it. But I think we just overcame it with like getting feedback and talking to people, and then just doing like a lot of research, and then just like getting more feedback and iterating on it. But I think we did kind of struggle with our finances. But yeah, I think we overcame it. It was definitely a challenge, but I that's like one thing I can think of right now.
In terms of the future plans for the project itself, the biggest thing is making sure that we have the research and development phase down. So A huge part of our project is, in fact, the bioreactor process. So if that bioreactor process happens to not work as aforementioned, then the entire project just falls on its knees. And we want to ensure that that part of the process is working. And maybe after a year or two of research and development, we'd move back to our partnership with the people that we were speaking to in Kenya, and possibly try resubmitting the project in some other sort of competition to secure some funding. And then we'd move to a launch in Kenya. So it's very like step by step.
It really comes down to just taking action. And I feel like a lot of people sort of get caught up in this like perfectionism mentality, like it has to be perfect. And another thing is they sit down and they expect to be motivated right there, like the moment that that idea sort of surfaces for whatever project they might want to construct. And I think it's really important to realize that motivation is something that comes as you work on a project and as you start to see the results. So I'd say don't put too much into the first action, just sort of mindlessly take that first action. It'll start to sort of make sense as you take that action and begin to put it together.
Yeah, I would also say just keep building, getting feedback, and then iterating on it. I think a lot of people, kind of what Beatrice mentioned, the first step is obviously building. So just keep whatever it is. I think honestly, like, don't get obsessed with like, is it perfect? Is it not? Just keep building it, get feedback. A lot of students, I feel like, are scared of feedback because, like, what if the idea isn't good or everything I've worked on isn't like what someone else like? What if they don't like it? And I think it's important to get feedback, especially early feedback on your idea, and then you can just keep iterating on it and then just keep going through that cycle.